Hello friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. These are the videos where I make all my favorite things everyone else's problem. Honestly, I didn't think that I was going to be back so soon talking about The Legend of Vox Machina. I know that my first The Legend of Vox Machina video came out 3 or 4 months ago, but I didn't think I was going to be talking about anything Critical Role related until my eventual Critical Role video that I will be working on eventually when I get around to it. And by get around to it, I mean I actually have to watch the campaigns, which I have not done yet. I've been very busy. Things have been very busy over here, but I will get to it eventually, I promise. And the thing is, like, I fully planned on making a The Legend of Vox Machina Season 3 video, but I had it in my schedule to make it next year, and then I actually watched The Legend of Vox Machina, and I was like, oh, no. I simply cannot wait until next year to discuss the show. I simply must talk about it right now because what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Look at all of these sly motherfuckers smiling and shit at the premiere like they weren't about to drop the most gut-wrenching, emotional whiplash of a season. Anyway, in today's video, I thought that the best way to discuss season 3 of The Legend of Vox Machina would be to go character by character, so that is what I'm going to do for today's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you would like to see me talk more generally about The Legend of Vox Machina and like the VAs and Critical Role, I will have linked down below my first The Legend of Vox Machina video. You can check that out if you so desire. I'm going to talk about Vax and Keyleth and Percy and Vex together because the season puts so much of an emphasis on their relationships. Starting with my absolute faves, Vax and Keyleth. If you watched my last The Legend of Vox Machina video, then you already know that Keyleth and Vax have my whole heart, and that has not changed since making my last video. Vaxlet stands were fed so well this season while being simultaneously heartbroken by their fights and the angst and the eventual devastation that's going to happen when Vax fucking rots away because the matron refuses to let him know peace. This season just loved to play fucking ping pong with my emotions. Like, they barely even let us rejoice and celebrate over the first Vax and Keyleth kiss before they were like, boom, immediately angst. Because why let Vax and Keyleth be happy for more than 30 seconds at a time? Why? That would just be crazy, right? Who would ever want that? But oh my god, the second Vax and Keyleth kiss and like the lead up to it absolutely made up for it because oh my god, it was so cute. It absolutely melted my heart. And the fact that Keyleth's love for Vax is literally what saved her from being killed during the Earth ritual trial thing that she was doing to find Raishan, like, oh my gosh, it actually like literally had me sobbing so hard because their love is so strong and it makes her stronger. No, I actually can't. I was like, oh, this is the most illegal thing they could have ever done. And then Keyleth's like little speech to Vax and Vax getting all flustered after the kiss. Perfect. Perfection. Just, I love them so much. I talked about this in my last Vox Machina video that Vax and Keyleth have made me go feral on multiple occasions, and that is still incredibly true for this season. Literally every time that Vax like stood up for Keyleth or like really just like stood by her over like the whole like Raishan shit, like, oh my god, it made me just so incredibly happy. He was really standing up for his woman and we love to see it. Oh my god. Now, of course, obviously, I love Vax and Keyleth as a couple, but I also love them as individual characters, so I do want to take a few moments to talk about them separately, starting with Keyleth, my girl, my number one. Oh my gosh, Keyleth this season has once again proven that literally she is that girl and that Vox Machina would be dead without her, and she is carrying hard carrying that team, her and Pike, who I'll talk about later. Like, I know her back hurts from carrying this team on her back because she is simply the best girl and I love her so much. I just love how like Keyleth really found her voice this season. I was so proud of her. Again, like throughout the series, Keyleth has been that girl, but this season really felt like the season where she is like owning her status and like recognizing and acknowledging that, like, yeah, I am actually that girl. It just made me so proud and happy to see Keyleth really stick up, like, for what she believed in and really stand her ground with the whole, like, Raishan, like, being a shady, backstabbing bitch, because lo and behold, Raishan was indeed a shady, backstabbing bitch. And Keyleth was like, I knew that already, because I, once again, say it with me, Keyleth is that girl. Thank you. And you know, Vax was also incredible this season. He might have fumbled Keyleth at the beginning of the season because he was being stupid. But you know, he immediately was like, "Oh shit, I was dumb," and he was able to pull it back in the end. So you know what? He was able to save it. He was able to bring it back in the end. So he might have fucked up in the beginning, but we came back from it. We came back from it because Vax is just he's that guy. He is that guy. He's incredible. While Vax may have been in his flop era at the beginning, at the beginning of this season, again, he really came back from it, and his like overall selflessness this season deeply, deeply fucked me up. Obviously, it's been established that Vax is willing to do anything for his sister. If there's one thing about Vax, it is that he loves his sister. But what he did this season was just absolutely next level, and it deeply made me deeply emotional. Though he might have girl bossed too close to the sun by saying fuck you to the matron, I am going to defy the laws of nature and bring my friend back to life. And now his hand is rotting, and who knows how long he has until the rest of him starts rotting. But you know, it's okay, because Vex and Percy deserve everything. They deserve happiness, and oh my god, I just the Vax and Percy brother relationship was one of my favorite things of this season. We have come so far. You know, we went from Vax socking Percy in the face after he accidentally killed Vex, to them making very intense, awkward eye contact after the morning after Percy fucked Vex, to Vax saving Percy's soul from a demon and defying the matron. We've come so far. Their relationship is so important to me. I love them. Those are my boys. I love them so much. And the matron's gonna ruin everything! But you know what? I am going to choose to simply remain in my Delulu and just choose to believe that Vax and Keyleth are gonna be together forever and get married and be happy forever with their friends and their family, and the matron is just gonna kindly forget that Vax defied the laws of nature, and everything's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be fine. They're all gonna live happily ever after. Yeah. Yep. Yes. The fact that Vax potentially damned himself for his sister's happiness might just be my 13th reason, because how am I supposed to come back from this? How am I ever supposed to recover from this? He just loves his sister so much that he was that he's like potentially foregoing his own chance of happiness. Oh, I'm not okay. I'm simply not okay from that. I also really love the moment, like when Vax and Keyleth Vax and Vex, Jesus, were going after Ripley, and Vex was, you know, because in her grief being very reckless, and being a little silly, and Vax was like, listen, like, you know I love you, and I'm gonna do whatever for you, always. However, this only works if you are also here for me too, and like kind of like was able to talk her down. I really loved that moment. I thought that was a really sweet moment. Next, of course, we've got to talk about Percy and Vex. I feel it only makes sense. I will say I was definitely like late to the party when it came to shipping them. I mean, I'm already late to the party in general because I started watching The Legend of Vox Machina and I haven't seen the original campaigns. But anyway, you know what I mean. Because I started shipping Percy and Vex. Like I didn't really start shipping them until season 2, and then like I went back and rewatched the whole show, and I was like screaming, crying, throwing up over how cute they were and how much I loved them in season 1 as well, even though their relationship was definitely like more scaled back in the first season, not really like focused on as much. But they still have a bunch of really great moments in season 1 and then especially season 2, and I love them. But holy shit, y'all, once again, the emotional whiplash it was incredibly intense. I feel like if anything, it was more severe with Percy and Vex than it was with Vax and Keyleth, because it felt like, and didn't just feel like, we had some very high highs and then some very low lows, like going back and forth between them in only a matter of a few episodes. It was a lot. Like, I feel like for Vax and Keyleth, the time between, like, is like, ooh, we're happy to ooh, angst, was like, I feel like the time was shorter, but that because the highs and the lows for Percy and Vex were like more extreme, it made the emotional whiplash more extreme. Like, you're telling me 1 minute Vex and Percy are fucking in the hot spring, and then the next Vex is crying over Percy's lifeless body? Like, how am I ever supposed to psychologically recover from that? How am I ever supposed to move on from that? Like, are you kidding me? I mean, yes, obviously Percy did eventually come back to life because Vax is the fucking greatest brother ever. But, as somebody who hasn't seen the original campaign, they really had me going there for a minute, especially because Percy was dead for so long. I was like, is he really dead? Dead? I'm like, is he dead? Dead? Like, actually dead? Like, they had a funeral for him and everything. I was like, oh my god, is he actually, like, he's not, oh my god, is he not coming back? I was stressed. I was so stressed, but I was low-key also so mad at Percy, like, as I was, like, sobbing over him dying, because I was like, bro, why would you reveal how you survived the first gunshot before and then, like, removing the thing before confirming that Ripley was unarmed? Like, hello, Percy, where did all that IQ go? It was actually really diabolical of them to make us wait an entire week for Percy to come back to life. Like, that was really evil of them to do that. I can't believe they did that. I lovingly blame Marisha Ray and Eugene Sun. And I'm gonna blame Brandon Auman too, because even though he didn't write the episode where Percy died, it felt, he is the showrunner, and it felt like making us wait like a whole ass like week for to see if Percy was gonna come back to life feels like a very Brandon Auman thing to do. I know Brandon Auman's game. I've watched enough Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know. It felt exactly like something he would do. And even though I haven't watched the campaign, I'm also gonna blame Matthew Mercer. Lovingly. Again, this is all lovingly. I better not see anybody acting foolish in the comments. Got my eyes. Got my eyes on y'all. Anyway, back to me being mad at Percy. I mean, I was mad at him for removing his little protective thingamabob and fucking telling Ripley that he removed, and showing her, I'd be like, look at what I did. I'm gonna remove the thing that saved my life before. But like, I wasn't upset at him for wanting to trust Ripley. Like, I understand that. He has such a good heart. Like, I was like, okay, I understand that. I wasn't mad at him for that. I was mad at him for being stupid and taking out his fucking thingy. But I was also like, bro, like, why would you trust Ripley when literally all she has ever done is stab you in the back and like kidnap you and torture you, and like, I'm like, her track record is not good. Like, why are we trusting her now? It's so funny to me because Kelly who voices Ripley, also voiced Karai in the 2012 TMNT cartoon, the Nickelodeon cartoon, which, if you've watched enough of my videos, then you would know is my favorite show of all time. And Karai, while not nearly as evil as Ripley, infamously betrayed the turtles on several occasions, and they were always like, oh yeah, we can trust her, even though, again, her track record was not great, which is basically what happened with Percy and Ripley. Because, Percy, I get that you want to be the bigger person and forgive Ripley and give her a second chance, and that's great. Love that for you. I understand that. However, the truth is that forgiveness means jack shit if that person has not done anything to change or redeem themselves. And at the very least, could we not have done the whole I'm gonna give you a second chance spiel after you had confirmed that she was unarmed and not going to shoot and kill you? Oh my god, again, Percy, what happened to your big brain? You are supposed to be the smart one, and you were just like, yeah, like, again, let me just toss away the thingy that saved my life before. Like, oh my god, you're so stupid. I love you, but you're stupid sometimes. Like, are you kidding me? You put Vex through the trenches because you had to go and get yourself shot. Like, and I thought you were supposed to be a gentleman. Isn't that just like men telling you that they love you and then dropping dead? Typical. The audacity. In all seriousness, I do really love Percy. This season really solidified just how much I love Percy, because he really is such a sweet guy, and he's just so like caring and loving to the people around him, and I love him so much. I was like, oh, that was really not your best moment, Percy. Like that the gears were not turning in your brain. That was not your brightest moment, bestie. Because of what Percy's death did to Vex and the rest of the team, oh my gosh, it absolutely devastated me. And just in general, I mean, my heart completely broke for Vex this season. Obviously, I was absolutely gutted for her because of Percy's death and just like of her losing someone that she loved so much. But also the scene where she confronts her father over the abuse that she has suffered and the trauma that she has endured because of him, and that basically because of all that, it prevented her from telling Percy that she loved him before he died. Oh, oh, that scene actually devastated me. That was genuinely, honestly, probably the most devastating scene for me in the entire season. It absolutely destroyed me, absolutely wrecked me. It also, though, made me incredibly fucking angry because personally, if I were Vex, we would have had to fight. Me and her father, we would have had to throw hands. I'm sorry. Like, we simply would have had to box. I'm sorry. Like, you caused me all this trauma and pain, and I couldn't even tell the man that I loved him, and now he's dead. No, we simply would have had to fight. I'm sorry. I would have had to kick his ass. That's just what would have had to happen. I can't speak, but that's what would need to have happened. I'm just happy that Vex was able to find some happiness and have Percy back by the end of all this, because she was truly in the trenches like no one else this season. Maybe this will mean that she'll get a little break next season. Maybe. a girl can dream. And yes, in case you are wondering, Vex's love confession absolutely did destroy me, and I will need every single business day from here on out to recover from it. Alright, next I'm going to talk about Pike. I'm really happy that I get to talk about Pike in this video, because in my last The Legend of Vox Machina video, besides Vax and Keyleth, I really didn't get to talk about like the characters of The Legend of Vox Machina, so I'm really happy to do it in this video. Pike was so fucking cool this season. I mean, Pike is cool every season. Again, this wasn't something that I was able to touch on in my last video, but right up there with Keyleth, Pike fucking carries Vox Machina. Literally the very second that Pike can't use her healing powers, Percy drops dead. Like, this woman is keeping these people alive 24/7. They literally would all just constantly be dead without her. I know that she is exhausted. I know that her back must hurt from carrying this team from hell and back. Literally. Anyway, I thought that Hell's to Pay was a really interesting episode, because I feel like throughout the series, it's already been touched on and established that Pike has a very interesting relationship with the Everlight, and she has a lot of doubts surrounding her relationship with like the Everlight. So to see her like directly like go against the Everlight in that episode, I thought was a really interesting angle to take. Obviously, that then like set up Vax going against the matron. But I just like, as Pike, I thought that was a really interesting thing to do for her character. Because like with Vax's hand rotting, I wonder what the consequences of Pike going against the Everlight will be like down the road. I don't see the Everlight as one to punish her like outright. I imagine it will be more like when the guy from Hell, I can't remember his name, like inevitably comes after her, or somebody else, like when she really needs like the Everlight's light, that she won't be able to use it or access it or like whatever. So that's really fun to think about. Can't wait for when she needs it the most, that it just won't be there. That's really cool. Really, really excited about that. So I am simply going to choose to not think about it. Instead, I'm going to think about how fucking cool Pike was with the Dawn Martyr and her wielding that shit, that was so fucking cool. Oh my god. Like, she was literally absorbing fire and just like shooting it back out and shit, and that was so cool. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm realizing that like my favorite moments with like the ladies of Vox Machina are when they're doing like fire shit. Like for last season 2, it was Keyleth walking through fire, and then for Pike this season it was her literally like shooting out flames through the Dawn Martyr. That was so fucking cool. I mean, Pike is such a fucking badass, again, as we've already established, and I just love to see her do badass things, and I want to continue to see her be a badass, and so I'm just excited to see what Pike does next. Okay, next we're gonna talk about Scanlan. Scanlan really devastated me this season. Like, actually, he really devastated me this season. All of his storylines and shit made me just fucking sad. Which I realize may not sound like much because just about everybody devastated me this season. But, oh my god, Scanlan not being there when Percy died and then finding out later. Oh, oh. Ah, that broke me. That actually broke me. Scanlan being so torn about trying to be a father to Kaylee and then also being there for his team for Vox Machina and then feeling like he let them both down because he was trying to be everywhere at once. Oh, oh, ah. Scanlan was really fighting for his life this season. Like, he was genuinely just trying to do his best, and I really felt for him. Like, he's come so far, even though he obviously still has so much growth left to do. Also, can I just say, I really felt so bad. This is like less of like a devastating thing and more just like a, oh buddy. I felt so bad for Scanlan when like Pike was comforting him. I think this was after he had like gotten really drunk with like when he was trying to like talk to Kaylee. And like Pike was there like comforting him, and he was like trying to like lean in for a kiss, and Pike was like, "Oh, I wasn't trying to do that." I was like, "Oh, oops, yikes!" I was like, "Yikes, bestie," because you know what? I understood where Scanlan was coming from. Not that it's obviously Pike was well within her right to be like, "Yeah, no, I was not looking to do that at all," but I definitely sympathized with Scanlan because you know Pike did kiss him last season, so I understand. Like, he wasn't even trying to be like a pervy like weirdo or anything. Like, he genuinely just kind of like misread the situation, and I was like, ooh, that was, oh yikes, oh, not his best moment. We really did not get like top 10 Scanlan moments. He was really fighting for his life this season. It's okay, Scanlan. But better luck next time, maybe. I don't know, but just focus on being there, being a dad for Kaylee. I am really glad that like I really enjoyed the Scanlan Kaylee storyline this season. I'm glad that they were able to find some semblance of closure and kind of like patch things up enough. Again, obviously there's still a lot of healing to be done, but I'm excited to see that the results of that healing and the progress of that healing throughout the story. And I also just hope that means we see more Kaylee because I really like her. I think she's a really cool character. And last but not least of the Vox Machina team, we have Grog. I love Grog. He's definitely not my favorite amongst the Vox Machina bunch, but I still adore him so much. He is so precious to me. Grog didn't really have like a major character arc this season, but I feel like it's really only fair because he literally like got beaten within an inch of his life by his uncle and almost murdered his best friend last season. So I feel like he went through enough character development that, he deserved a break. Obviously, I feel this way about all the characters and they don't always get the break, but I definitely feel like Grog earned he got a well-deserved break from some traumatic character development. Though I say that Grog had a break, and literally he had one of his best friends died and almost got decimated by 2 dragons this season. So can I really consider this like a break? I don't know. And watch. I just like spoke into existence that we're gonna have like the most devastating, gut-wrenching Grog arc next season. And I'm gonna be like, well, shit. Don't, I, again, have not seen the campaign. Don't tell me what happens. Let me live in my ignorance. But anyway, Grog he was great this season. His comedic relief was desperately needed from all the emotional trauma and death this season. And you know what? He even came up with a decent plan against Thordak. I was so proud of him and his two brain cells. I was like, oh, yay, Grog. And last but most certainly not least, I have to talk about my favorite supporting characters, my favorite wives, Alora and Kima. I'm so happy that Alora and Kima had bigger roles this season. I've always really liked them, especially Kima, because I just love Stephanie Beatrice. And getting to see more of their relationship and their backstory made me incredibly happy. Honestly, I really want like an Alora and Kima prequel series, or even I would take like a short. I would take a short because I really enjoyed seeing their flashbacks in episode 5. I just want more Alora and Kima in general because they are so fucking cool and badass, especially Kima when she killed the ice dragon whose name is escaping me, but when she fucking went right through the heart, that was so dope. Oh my god. I love them so much. Like obviously, Keyleth, like she is the ultimate badass to me, but I know some badasses when I see them, and I just adore Alora and Kima. Alright, that is all I have for today's Fangirl Fridays video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm really excited for season 4 of The Legend of Vox Machina whenever that comes out. I don't think we have a date on that, right? I imagine it's going to be a while. But I'm excited for whenever it comes out. I'm really interested in what's going to happen with the Whispered One cult. I'm going to be honest, I kind of forgot about the Whispered One because it's been a minute since I watched season 1. But I am a sucker for a cult storyline, so I'm really intrigued to see how it all plays out. I also just really want to say a quick thank you and a huge thank you for all of the love on my first The Legend of Vox Machina video. You guys were so nice, and I just really appreciated all of the love and the comments on the video. It just made me really happy. I was really proud of that video, so I was so happy to see that so many people also enjoyed it. It just really, oh, it warmed my heart. Thank you guys so much. Also, I know that I said that I'm going to eventually make a Critical Role video. Honestly, I'm not gonna kid myself. That's probably gonna be like a multiple part video, or just like I'm gonna break it up into multiple like different topics or like whatever. Because Critical Role is fucking massive. So I don't really know exactly how I'm gonna break up those videos. If you guys have any suggestions for what I should do, I would be more than happy to look at them and hear them out. So if you have those, leave them down below in the comments. Once again, that's all I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I upload Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, except when I don't. And I will see you guys in my next video. I'm going to Friendsgiving now. Bye, guys!